Welcome to Commanders Daily, everybody, your one-stop shop for everything going on with the Burgundy and Gold. I'm Bob Matthews. Don't forget, hit that like and subscribe button so you don't miss a day of our coverage. Commanders will leave later today, headed on out to Minneapolis for Sunday's 1 o'clock kickoff with the Minnesota Vikings. It'll be, I believe, it's Adam Amin and Drew Brees. If I remember correctly from earlier today when I checked the maps, that's going to be doing the game on Fox. And, a game that probably was slated for a bit of a higher-ranking crew early in the season. Not so much now, as it's a battle of 4-8 against 3-9. Provided this doesn't end in a tie in overtime, one of these teams is going to win for the first time since the first week in October. That's how bad it's been going for most of them. But Commanders are getting good news. This offense is almost completely intact. Could be by this weekend. Jaden Daniels on Thursday participated in practice in full go in practice. So yesterday I was saying I thought it might be 50-50, and I was kind of leaning toward Marcus Mariota starting. Yeah, now with Jaden practicing in full on Thursday, I got a funny feeling he's going to be starting, provided there's no setbacks either today or when they get into Minneapolis and do a walkthrough on Saturday. I think it's looking more and more likely that Jaden's going to be back. So when you consider the fact that Jaden's going to be back, that Terry McLaurin is now back, that Deebo Samuel seems healthy, and a guy we're about to talk about here in a second, we're going to be seeing this offense pretty much at full throttle for the first time. And it's going to be very interesting down the stretch to see how that operates. Jaden got off to a little bit of a slow start this year. I attribute that, number one, to the fact that Terry wasn't in camp this spring and summer, and, number two, somewhat of a natural regression after, obviously defenses across the league had an entire offseason to study the tape and see if they come up with some stuff to slow him down. But what happens now? These last few weeks of the season, and if they can string together some good offensive performances and maybe even pull off a few wins, it's going to be interesting. This team will have some juice again going into the off season. So I'm really looking forward to seeing Jaden play in this weekend. We'll get into your thoughts on it in just a couple of minutes. The other guy that I was mentioning, Noah Brown, again. Dan Quinn, very optimistic about him playing this weekend. And again, if that happens for the first time in months, literally months and months, maybe, since the NFC Championship game last year, Jaden's going to be throwing to his top three targets. Okay, Deebo wasn't one of his targets in the title game last year, but you get my drift. And Deebo Samuel seems a lot healthier now. It appears he is, that heel injury appears to have been healed. The heel has been healed. So really, really going to be interesting to see if all of that transpires, how this offense looks. Now, as for the Vikings, we said we would watch the tape and get into the scouting report here. I think the two things, obviously, that jump out at you when you talk about the Vikings offense is the best player on offense and the not best player on offense. That's quarterback J.J. McCarthy, and Justin Jefferson, who is. On the surface, you really worry about the Commanders' secondary and Justin Jefferson. I mean, if there was a secondary he was going to go 7 receptions, 150 yards, and a couple of touchdowns against, it would be this one. This is going to be a test for the back seven of the Commanders. Justin Jefferson is arguably one of the 2 or 3 best receivers in the league, and there probably isn't much of an argument against that right now. So, but the question is, can J.J. McCarthy get him the ball? Because he hasn't been able to this year. Even with the horrid quarterback play that Minnesota's gotten, Jefferson is already, still has I think 850 yards receiving this year. But with McCarthy back and with him throwing 10 interceptions this year as opposed to 6 TDs, I got to think that this is a spot that if you're the Commanders' defense, you're going to say, we can really get right this week. Mike Sanderstill and Jonathan Jones have looked better just playing zone on the outside, and I got a feeling that's what they're going to do again this week. Just keep everything in front of them, bend, don't break, hope that McCarthy, which he may, makes some mistakes. It looks like it's a coin flip now on whether McCarthy is going to have his left tackle Christian Darrisaw out there. Mispractice with a knee earlier in the week, and of course he is coming back from a knee injury. For the Commanders to win this game, excuse me, I think it's what we've been talking about all year. Ground and pound till you make no sound. You've got 3 pretty decent running backs, and so let's use them. I got a feeling you're going to see Chris Rodriguez starting, and then Jeremy McNichols, and then Bill Merritt. So give them the lion's share of the action on offense. If they do that, it'll loosen things up, and Zach Ertz, who is coming off a monster game, ought to be able to tear it up underneath. Vikings defense is allowing 4 yards per carry and 128 yards rushing a game. So there is the possibility. The possibility exists, that the Commanders can exploit that. And if they do, what does a strong running game mean? It means that you're going to keep control of the ball. And ball control means less touches for Minnesota's offense, more time run off the clock, and that's how you win the ball game. So if they can do that, I think the Commanders can be successful this weekend. All right, let's go ahead and hit the mailbag. If you, once you watch this, go ahead and bookmark this episode. Come on back after the game. Give me your thoughts. Give me your takes, and we'll talk about that next week. Your assignment yesterday was the big question. Do you play Jaden Daniels if he's healthy? Do you shut him down? And we had people on both sides of it. Shout out John S. Turi, 8286. He says, play Jaden if he's healthy. Absolutely play him. But Jim Phillips says, let JD5 sit for the year to heal, bulk him up somewhat, and he'll still be able to escape from the pocket with some planned runs. Notice other QBs from this draft got a little bigger. Jaden can grow into that 6'4" frame and still be a weapon with his feet, just probably not 891 yards like his rookie campaign. Do think that I hear what you're saying. I do hear what you're saying, Jim, although I think Jaden did put on a few pounds of muscle in the offseason. But I think it's on this one, I am on the side of play him. I think he needs the reps. The more reps, the better for him. I really think that I know 3 injuries, that's a little abnormal, but it wasn't like any major damage was done. And, a couple of them weren't even because he was, a couple of them were because he was under pressure, and another one was kind of a fluke. The question of whether Treylon Burks ought to play instead of Noah Brown, I do think they are going to give Burks a lot more time this week than maybe if he hadn't played so well last week on offense. So it'll be interesting to see how many targets Noah Brown gets, how many Treylon Burks gets. All right, that's going to do it for us. Again, thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. We'll be back Monday with our thoughts on the game. Make sure you drop your takes in there. And like the wise man once said, if you're out on your bike tonight, as always, do wear white.